New York City is the most visited place in the United States. The area's three major airports move about 140 million people in and out each year.
As a network, the largest number of passengers pass through them of any metropolitan area in the country.
Coordinating this mass movement of people, planes and services requires around-the-clock attention. More than 3,000 flights fly in and out of the region daily. It's a growing number that these aging travel hubs weren't designed to handle.
Behind the times, subpar, honestly, a disgrace to the New York, New Jersey area.
The old Terminal B was constructed for about 8 million passengers per year and was serving closer to 16 million passengers per year.
Now, all three airports need major upgrades. This is how New York manages one of the most complex airport systems on Earth.
When airlines arrive, they will contact our ramp control operated by us, and we will direct those aircraft to their assigned gate. Or when they depart, similarly, we'll direct them away from their gate back to the airport system that's operated by the control tower in the FAA.
The Federal Aviation Administration's air traffic control team is housed in a TRACON tower in Westbury, New York. Here, a team of air traffic controllers guide approaching and departing aircrafts, connecting them to the local airport towers.
There are 5 or even 6 airports that have lights arriving and departing.
All are located extremely close together, so the FAA limits the number of flights in the area. And they are often staggered in order to avoid crossing paths. In normal conditions, the region can handle up to 270 flights per hour. But this number decreases if the FAA needs to add distance between planes on approach, if there are any slight deviations in and out of the area. But despite this careful coordination, New York's airports are plagued by delayed flights. In 2019, only 66% of flights flying into Newark were on time, less than the national average of about 77%. These delays are a big reason why all three airports regularly land on the list of lowest rated airports in the United States. From the dawn of commercial flight, New York airports have had to scramble to keep up with rapid population growth and ever-increasing numbers of tourists. When Newark Liberty International Airport first opened in 1928, it quickly became the busiest commercial airport in the United States.
This field is the eastern terminus of all of the great transcontinental airlines, and hundreds of transport ships land and take off from its runways every day.
But the airport was in New Jersey, something that did not sit well with New York's Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia. In 1934, when the mayor's plane landed at Newark, he refused to step off. He claimed his ticket marked New York as the destination. The plane was redirected to a small municipal airfield in Brooklyn, where he held a press conference demanding an airport within city limits. The stunt was successful. The New York City Municipal Airport in northern Queens, now LaGuardia Airport, opened its doors to commercial traffic in 1939. But LaGuardia's 4 runways quickly became overwhelmed. So in 1948, the city built a new airport with 6 runways and 5 terminals on the grounds of a former golf course in the southern part of Queens. It was called Idlewild Airport, known today as John F. Kennedy International Airport. At the time, most airports used one terminal space shared by all airlines. But the new Idlewild Airport was different. Airlines built and controlled their own terminals. These extravagant terminals were designed by some of the world's most renowned architects, and airlines packed them with groundbreaking technology, hoping to lure customers away from the competitors. Pan Am built the flying saucer-esque Worldport. Trans World Airlines introduced one of the first baggage carousels and electronic departure and arrival boards. What was then considered cutting edge quickly became the global standard for international airports. It was the dawn of the jet age, and JFK was leading the way.
This is it, the first American commercial jet capable of economical transatlantic service, the Boeing 707 Jet Clipper. Every one of the airline's dozens of jet planes can carry as many people in a year's time as the biggest ocean liner.
Soon, JFK's terminals became archaic. They were designed in an age when flying was a luxury and were woefully ill-suited to handle ever-increasing demand. To keep up, New York's airports are continually demolishing, renovating, and constructing new terminals, which must also account for critical changes in security, technology, and evolving passenger needs. These 3 airports, a patchwork of old and new, must work in unison to manage the world's busiest airspace, and that responsibility falls in the hands of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey.
The bridges and tunnels and the port were the first set of transportation assets that the Port Authority ran, and then it became the operator of all 3 major airports.
In recent years, the agency took a new approach to facility operation.
There are private companies which are simply better than a government agency at actually operating a facility that caters to passengers, that caters to the public, and that is oriented toward customer experience.
LaGuardia Gateway Partners, for example, is responsible for managing LaGuardia's Terminal B.
So that's everything including facility security, cleanliness, customer service, retail, food and beverage, services, amenities, art special features.
The entity also manages behind-the-scenes airport operations. This is the baggage handling system at LaGuardia's Terminal B. It's one of the most advanced in the country.
It takes about 3,250 bags per hour. It spans across 3 floors. We have 5 CTX machines with space for a future 6th one if necessary in the future. And we have 17 sortation piers downstairs for the airlines to recollect that baggage.
It's an intricate system that most flyers will never see.
When passengers check in, they expect their bag is going to make it with them on their flight, so this is the vessel that gets that to happen. The airlines are responsible for inducting the baggage, so upstairs on level 3 at the ticket counters, they physically put the bag, the tag on, and put it on the belt.
Once loaded onto the belt, luggage travels down to the next level for security inspection.
Here we have our 2 sort feed lines. These lines feed all the bags that were inducted up on level 3 departures, and it sorts it to one of our available X-ray machines. So it's round robin style, the first available machine. That's where the bag will go. And the diverters here will help push the bag to that CTX machine. These are the 5 X-ray machines. They're Smith detection, state-of-the-art X-ray machines. They scan the bag for an image. Anything that's prohibited, according to the TSA, will flag in that image. If they go on the up conveyor, they're clear and they make their way down to sortation. If they're alarmed, they go down and into the secondary screening, which is the zebra for checked baggage resolution.
The system flags about 10% of luggage. These suitcases are transferred by state-of-the-art robots called mobile inspection tables, or MITs, to the checked baggage resolution area.
I believe we were the second to actually implement them. We were the third on a list of people that were bidding, but we were the second. Detroit was first, and we were the second to actually implement them. They wait right outside the room for any alarmed bag to drop on them. Once they drop, they make their way into the room. They go and they dock up at the first available TSA agent station that's active. While they're docked, they're actually charging. The TSA goes ahead, does their inspection. Once they give it the clear, or the second option is to reinsert, which means they just want another image through the X-ray machine. They indicate that on the mobile inspection table, and then the table makes its way outside of the room and then goes and drops the bag either on the clear or the reinsert line.
With 55 MIT robots, LaGuardia's system is one of the largest in the U.S., and it fundamentally changed the way the TSA manages baggage.
You used to have the alarm conveyor and the clear conveyor all located inside the room so that the TSA could take it off, do their thing, and then put it back on. That creates a much larger space in this room where we wouldn't have been able to have the 26 tables that we have. Secondly, it's ergonomically friendly for the TSA agents. They no longer have to lift, hold, or handle a bag in any way. It's brought to them and taken away from them, so they do not have any on-the-job injury liability. Once the bag is all the way cleared through that screening process that we saw, it makes its way down here to the sortation area. The bag drops on a tip chute, and part of the run-on-demand system is the bag will just stop in its place until the next bag comes. Once it's loaded onto the tug, the airlines make their way out of one of the 7 roll-up doors we have. It goes out onto the airfield, and they drive to its designated gate, which is indicated on the screens down at the far end of the pier. They take it, they load it into the belly of the aircraft, and they make as many rounds as they need per flight.
This intricate system is just one cog in LaGuardia's terminal network. Despite their relatively close proximity to Manhattan, all 3 New York airports are notoriously difficult to get to and from. Most require multiple transfers on and off various modes of city transit. Taking a cab comes with the risk of being stuck in the city's unpredictable traffic. When travelers make it to the airport, aging terminals and ongoing construction can make navigating to gates a headache.
I think the best framework here is to recall the very famous quote, then Vice President Biden, now President Biden, when he arrived at LaGuardia about 10 years ago. What his quote was, if I blindfolded you and took you into LaGuardia, you would think you were in a third world country.
New York once led the way in aviation. But today, the city has fallen behind. That's why the Port Authority invested $4 billion in LaGuardia updates in 2015.
Every single passenger terminal, with the exception of the landmark Marine Air Terminal, is being torn down to the ground with new facilities being built in its place.
The agency hired LaGuardia Gateway Partners to lead the improvement project in what is the largest public-private partnership in U.S. aviation history. As of mid-2021, Terminal B renovations are about 80% complete.
When a customer or passenger arrives at the new Terminal B, I think they'll find, first of all, that the roadway system is far more efficient and it's easy to get up to the front of the terminal. And then going into the terminal, big airy open spaces, quiet artwork, very efficient. We wanted to design something that worked really well for airlines functionally, and as well for the passenger functionally. Intuitive wayfinding, ease of flow, clear sight lines to destination, view lines out to the gates.
One of the latest innovations was constructed over the old terminal and opened in mid-2021.
With our new design, where we actually go up through our bridges up and over top of the taxiway system, we're able to add 2 miles of taxiway system to the airport, which is 2 miles of operating flexibility for aircraft to move around, avoid congestion, and move independently of each other so that one aircraft going to a gate doesn't have to wait for another aircraft maneuvering on a gate.
The addition allows planes to taxi underneath, while passengers can watch from above. Once construction is completed, LaGuardia will be the only airport in the world with 2 sky bridges.
The average-sized aircraft serving the old terminal was about 100 seats per aircraft, and that was due to limitations on gates and taxiways, things of that nature. In the new terminal, every gate can accommodate an aircraft of at least 200 seats, and some even larger.
Unlike other U.S. airports, Terminal B is implementing the Common Use System.
In other airports, you just see static signs. When it's all digital, it gives us the flexibility that we could change that Southwest to say American in a flash.
The goal in redeveloping Terminal B was to make it world-class, was to make it a facility that represented New York, and most of all, to provide an exceptional customer experience, both for our passenger customers as well as our airline customers.
The new terminal is set to finish by 2022, and it's not the only project in the works. The Port Authority is overseeing an investment of $20 billion in all 3 of the New York area airports over the next 4 years.
The Newark project is quite far along. It is a major new terminal, well over 1 million square feet. Our ambition for JFK is to have 4 major new terminal projects. 1 is underway, and those projects are now deep into the design phase. What our target is to get real construction going in 2022.
These future forward projects aim to prepare the city for a new era of flight. But the city is also looking back. How can New York, once again, become a leader in aviation?
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard the spacious cabin, attractively decorated, air-conditioned but draft-free.
In the 1960s, air travel was a luxury. And the airport was the place to be. People would often put on their finest clothes to go to the airport for a night of plane watching and fine dining, whether they had a ticket or not. The TWA Flight Center, which opened in 1962, embodied this golden age of flight.
And it was an architectural masterpiece then. But it didn't stand the test of time as it was too small of a building for modern aviation.
By 2001, the airline filed for bankruptcy and the Flight Center closed its doors. But now, 20 years on, in an attempt to help renew JFK's golden era image, the TWA Flight Center is finally open again. This time as a hotel.
The TWA Hotel, this was built by Howard Hughes when he owned TWA, and the building was designed by Eero Saarinen, the famous architect of the St. Louis Arch, Dulles Airport, the U.S. Embassy in London, and Black Rock in New York. A lot of famous buildings. We worked with 22 government agencies to restore the old building, which is a National Historic Landmark, to build 2 new hotel towers right next to it. So the iconic original building is our lobby. We have a 200,000 square foot lobby, and the hotel buildings flank it on either side. The swooping tubes, these are iconic. You know, it used to be you'd walk to the end of the tube and you'd right onto the plane. That was cutting edge. Back then, no other airport had a jet bridge. Normally, you walked out on the tarmac and walked up the set of stairs. TWA was the first to invent the jet bridge. Some of the lighting is quite iconic in the 66,000 square foot volume. And the swooping shells, it was built to represent a bird in flight. So you can see the beak coming off the front of the building and the shells. And so it's, you know, the building looks like a airplane in flight. This is the 1962 living room. We have all the ephemeral memorabilia from 1962. James Bond, the first movie came out in 1962. The Beatles were on the Hi-Fi in '62. The Jetsons was the first color TV show on prime time. We even have a bar in a vintage airplane, the Lockheed Constellation. It holds about 125 people, and you can sit in the cockpit and listen to the live feed of the JFK air traffic. We have a twister room. We have an ode to Tab, Cola, the totally artificial beverage. I think it's this special look, but it's also the special feel that you had in 1962, the Twitter that you'd have about traveling, and the excitement that you'd have about going to Rome or to Tel Aviv or to Tokyo. I mean, these were crazy far-flung places back then. And even now, if you're just going to Buffalo or, Miami, you can still feel the ethos of how much fun traveling is.
Projects like the TWA Flight Center Revitalization Project aim to welcome a new era of commercial flight for New York City.
I think the economics of flying have changed. You can now fly 200 people at $50 a seat and make money. That was not the case back then, so they had to charge more, so it became an upper class experience. But now flying and travel is available to everybody at a very reasonable price. It's going to keep growing. Right now, only 60 million Americans have a passport. That's out of 335 million Americans. It's about 20%. That number is just going to continue to grow because of the democratization of travel, but people want to travel. I think New York, the airport experience just continues to get better.
New York's airports have always been known for something. From innovation.
Now when you're past security, you can go to airline lounges, you can go to restaurants, you can sit in parks, special features, enjoy the art.
To delays and outdated terminals. The city is now trying to recapture the world-class status its airports once had. It looks to improve not only functionality, but the passenger experience too. LaGuardia has already made strides with renovations, and Newark and JFK are on its heels. As global air travel continues to grow, New York plans to grow with it. There are talks of a new public transit line with direct access to LaGuardia from the city, and a supersonic jet from JFK to London that will fly passengers in between in as little as 3.5 hours.
We're going from back of the class, outdated, truly a disgrace, to moving to best in class, from worst to first. That's our framework.